Hi, welcome to this channel on magnetic energy technology principles applications. This video is about magnetic motors. This is just one design of a magnetic motor, and I am going to show a model. This is just a model of the rotor, so this is not the real rotor. So guys, please don't worry. This is not Tialco B. This is just a model. There's nothing to confiscate here. So just leave me alone, because I'm not going to show any proof of anything. I'm not going to show any running units. But I do want to show this model of this rotor because it's key to this particular concept. This is such a scalable design that it can go anywhere from literally down to microscopic size up to a huge size. And so the principles of this are what I want to touch on, because this design could be modified in a gazillion different ways as long as you're following certain principles and capitalizing on this. Now, this particular unit is fed with neutral magnetic current by, you could say, like the celestial particle transmuter or another similar device. But in the future, as I've talked about, this could be linked up to a crystal type of batteries that then power this unit. Now, one of the huge advantages of this particular design is it's extremely light for the horsepower that you get out of it. So like this particular design and this particular size rotor produces 10 horsepower. Now Tialco B will be literally like much lighter than this. So I mean, we're talking about something that is extremely light and manageable compared to a conventional motor that has iron cores and different things in it that are so heavy. This is very light and it can be very powerful. And so I want to just touch on some of the basic principles of this design. Obviously now all the hand drawings, like these type of hand drawings and all the hand drawings on the site were done by my dad back in like the 80s. And so this is, I want these up here to help demonstrate some of the principles involved in this. So the first thing here is, you have neutral magnetic current coming into a particular unit and we're converting that into polarities. And so we have what you could call polarity switching, and then we have pulse gating happening. So let me just try to show you some of these. If you can see, like on this particular drawing, see these points of contact as a rotor is spinning beneath these. We have the ability to control the speed of the pulses. Now, pulse gating would be like energy coming through the points of contact that then make contact to another contact that then sends them to particular wings on this type of rotor. So what's happening is we can take neutral magnetic current and change it to the polarities that we want, and this design does it 180 degrees apart at a time, so that what we are doing is we are creating like on and off poles in this unit that then cause it to be attracted in a forward motion. Now the reason we can do that with this is because we have neutral magnetic current that is converting to polarities. So there are magnets mounted onto these rotor wings. Those magnets are extremely weak, and one of the biggest principles of these units is we always are like modifying the magnets and modifying the magnetic fields to do what we want to do, what we need them to do. So one thing I've often talked about is like we'll wrap them in copper coated steel wire, or we'll wrap them in copper, or we'll have them with like different types of shielding around them that control the strength of the field and the direction of the field. Well, in this case, these are flat magnets and one side of them is anodized. So the north side is anodized, and the north side we have overlapping like sheets of magnets, and you can get all the details on this unit on the website, but I can't go into all that because this video would be terribly boring. But it's this idea that since we have anodized one side of the magnets, we are now contributing, like we're causing a different expression of the magnetic field to happen. So that contributes to basically our continuous rotation. And so the north side of those magnets is on this side of the wing, and the south side ends up being protruding on the bottom side of the wing. And so what's so cool about that is we have copper rings. We have a copper ring above and a copper ring below. So we're capitalizing on this diamagnetic material. And I've talked about this in other videos and how we don't want the magnets themselves to be the drivers, primarily because then we have magnetic holdback and we're competing and we're trying to stop magnetic holdback. But when you have anodized magnets, like anodized on one side, and then you have them free for full expression on the other side, what happens is we are circuiting neutral magnetic current to the different wings as the rotor is spinning, and we create polarities out of that neutral magnetic current based on what the wires are connected to, like which polarity these magnets they're connected to. And so think about what's happening. These are very weak magnets, but we don't care. All we need them to do is entrain the neutral magnetic current to a polarity. We need them to set the polarity. So we call it like a polarity setting, pulse gate switching, if you want to call it like that. So what we're doing is, as, like, say for example, as a wire is fed through this and it hits the north side polarity, this whole wing lights up with a powerful north polarity pulse, okay? And then at the same time, we can have, like, say for example, a south polarity pulse on the 180 degrees away. So what's happening is we're creating these poles, like magnetic poles, in the copper rings around here, and the wings are forward attracting to these poles, and then it creates this incredible pull and this incredible drive. And the way we turn that off is, at the same time we have pulse gating, we have a pulse with, like, we have a magnetic release charge that goes to ground. So we'll hit a wing, we'll light it up like with a north polarity, for example, what we would call a north polarity. We'll light it up, and then we light it up just long enough so it can attract forward, and then we basically dispel it, or we release. It's called like a tract release mechanism. We release that magnetic energy in that wing through a grounding contact. So we hit it and we immediately release it out of the wing. And if you get what I'm trying to say here, we can control the north and south polarities in the wings and cause forward drive and forward momentum, because we are attracting and releasing those polarities instantly. And the Tialco B metal won't hold the polarities, it immediately releases them. Whereas the copper rings create diamagnetic fields, and they create poles in them that are more stable and give us a very strong attract field. So this is a very powerful concept if you can think about, like, wow, how do you take neutral flowing magnetic current and turn it into something practical and something useful? Well, this type of device with cam switching and pulse gating and polarity setting, and you can, like, see the larger drawing back here, this gives you the ability to really have a tremendous amount of energy polarity conversion, and then really strong polarities that come and go extremely fast. There's no, like, as far as we know, there's no speed to this magnetic energy. It's like a quantum. This is a magnetic etheric model of the universe, by the way, and this is highly unconventional information. I'm sorry I failed to say that. But you've got to, like, imagine that the polarities can come on and off faster than the speed of light, really as fast as we want. Now, in this particular instance, one of the key concepts of this is we want to control the speed of this rotor, because we don't want it to spin out of control and blow up, or, do whatever it could do, like burn out. And so part of this design with these wings is they help control the speed just based on the air that they're moving. And then we also have, like, the release of the magnetic energy around there, like the magnetic energy pole energy. We're releasing it, and so we can control basically how fast the rotor spins. Now, when a load is put on this unit and it, like, kind of gears down, it draws more magnetic energy, like more neutral magnetic energy into it, and can make stronger polarizations around it. So the magnetic fields will be bouncing on and off and on and off like crazy around this thing in very strong like north-south sequences. So they're always attracting each other forward. And then when it's at it's at its top speed and there's basically no load on it, then there's less current being drawn, like less magnetic current being drawn into the unit, and then you have like not as strong of pulses that are going on and off, just to basically keep it in continuous rotation. One of the very key concepts to this unit and to really all the units is you have to have the neutral magnetic current jump a gap, because that gives it the ability to take on the polarities that we want. Now there's so much detail involved in this that I can't get into, but one of the things that's really important is like we are so into the composition of the magnets, because we want the composition of the magnets in relationship to the composition of the rotor, in relationship to the incoming wires, to all be compatible, so that we have like continuous magnetic resonance, like that is harmonic to each other throughout the whole system. And I mean, you notice like the sacred geometry involved in this and the 8 poles, and really it's 16 because we've got top and bottom, and they feed off of each other. And just like every other unit, there's like sacred geometry is embedded in this process, and it's just key to everything, because when you get these huge toroidal fields that form around this unit when it's fully functioning, you get vortices and toroidal fields and very powerful energy fields around it. It is tapping into a universal energy process. So not only does it draw, if you want, it attracts neutral magnetic current from a celestial particle transmuter, an equivalent unit or crystals or whatever, and it lets those go to ground. At the same time it's doing that, it's already creating vortices and stable toroidal fields that are tapping universal etheric energy and pulsation that contributes to the process of the running of the rotor. Now, if you were to give a theme song to this particular unit, it would probably be like MC Hammer's "You Can't Touch This," because it's just so amazing, this design. It's so lightweight for the horsepower that you get, and it's just universal in the sense that it's capable of running in essentially any environment and out in space and everything. So this would be like what you would call a spaceship motor, something that could run that isn't dependent upon the Earth system to function. So it's not dependent on a connection to the ionosphere, but it's dependent on a universal etheric magnetic connection, which is everywhere throughout the universe, which is a really fundamental concept in these units. So, on demand, it's on demand charging and on demand running and functioning, which is huge. And there's some parallels to that with electricity, of course. Like if your standard house, we use more, we have on demand more. But part of the difference is that's such a forced process, whereas this is an attract process. So this is in complete harmony with universal resonance, universal flow, and obviously going to ground and completing a circuit. Just like every other unit, this particular motor is a pipeline of energy with the universal system. So it's kind of like creating a large molecule, if you want to say that, because the way it spins and the way its polarities shift on and off, and it rotates different polarities and uses them for continuous rotation. It's like creating a natural structure of the universe that uses that etheric magnetic flow to run at all times. And so I think that's it for this video. I didn't want to go too crazy, and I don't really have time to go into metaphysical principles on this, but one of them, which is kind of interesting, which I will leave you with this because I know a lot of people care more about the metaphysics in these videos than anything else, but there's interesting fields that form around this type of unit that are large, and they get larger and larger and larger. And those fields cannot be tampered with. So like you can impair the functioning of those units, if you have like strong electrical fields within that aura, if you want to say it, the aura of the unit. So metaphysical parallel to this, which is this magnetic energy is the union of metaphysics and science, is be aware of your own energy field and how closely you are in relationship to strong electrical fields. So once in a while, it's really helpful for us to get out in nature and get away from cell towers and high power lines and all these things. And then in the visualization, not just like clearing your own aura or light just immediately around your body, but expand your white light clearing process to much farther distances out in your energy field in your aura, because even our own energy fields extend very far out. And so it's kind of like imagining white light, or imagining like clear universal light all through your aura at many, many levels, like further and further out. And there's part of the power of doing that is not only does it like clear karma, if you want to call karma, but like past life connections that aren't necessarily serving you right now, but just cleaning out any of the energy, and it's like societal vibration, societal resonance, like things that are not necessarily the most uplifting energies around. It's clearing all of that even at a distance, and all of that helps then our whole internal functioning, our body functioning, and our energy functioning and everything. So it's kind of like helping yourself with maximizing your own energy potential, and thinking about not just your internal body and everything, but all the energy fields around us as well is so important. So I'll leave you with that, and thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. I'll try to see you next time.